yourself seeing incorporated this season?
I think that when Raven came in and started talking about two things. One, that we up our game on the action side of things, and we brought in Clayton Barber as our fight coordinator, and really helped train our actors to a place where what's you call it, the
Discipline?
no, you have a different relationship with
Pain. Yeah. Pain. Yeah.
So I think people will see that, but I think more importantly, a lot of season one focused on Danny discovering himself as to who he is and his relationship with Rand, and now he's got a different mission. His mission is, post the Defenders world, and spoiler ahead, when just before Matt Murdock died, that he asked Danny to take on the mantle of protecting his city, and so we're seeing him more in a vigilante role. We're seeing him, in the same kind of way that Luke looks after Harlem and Jessica is in Hell's Kitchen, that we decided to sort of open up the Lower East Side and be down in Chinatown and down in the Bowery and see a part of New York, which is all we've always said New York was the fifth defender, and having him be in that world and then bring into that Colleen and her world, and then bring Misty into that, and then all of a sudden this woman Mary shows up, and then Davos shows up, and then it's a whole mess, and so that's just really exciting. Oh yeah, she was playing that every day. That's where I found her.
Yes, I'm familiar with the idea of, no, start again. I'm going to answer again. No, I wasn't familiar with Typhoid Mary. However, I was given the comics and I read them in detail and fell madly in love with Typhoid Mary because her psychosis chimes nicely with mine. Sometimes I would rather be violent than say hello as well, and I understand.
Simone, I'd like to ask you about Misty, but first I'd like to make a personal request. Your dress is amazing. Could you stand up and just show it to our audience?
Why, certainly, honey. Give me a little Alexander Wang, a little
Look
over the shoulder. No, guys, come on. It's
Thank you. We've really enjoyed going along with you, with Misty, on her journey. Can you talk a bit about the whole arm issue?
Yeah, she loses it violently, and then she doesn't have it. At the end of the Defenders, Misty loses her arm, and essentially she loses her identity and her career. She steps away from being a cop, and so we get to see that journey of her getting the prosthetic from Danny Rand with the help of her newfound friend, Colleen, and the adjustment of that, the discrimination that people who are differently able to receive from the people around them, whether they're people at their job or their actual friends and family. And so she gets to the point where she feels confident in who she is. She's got her swagger back, and you get to see her and this guy named Luke Cage, something like that. They fight and stuff. And so when you see Misty step on the scene in Iron Fist season 2, she's very much in that new walk of, this is who I am and this is who I am to the world. But then, the world of Colleen and Danny is completely different than the world of Luke and Misty uptown. And so there's a little bit of unsure footing in that. And I think that, if you were at the panel yesterday, you got to see this young lady by the name of Mary just come in and expose a different level of Misty that we haven't seen. You don't really get to see Misty get her ass kicked. And in this, in this show you do. And I think that that's exciting. And so it's to me, we're telling a great story of women in a full-fledged, in a full rounded way that's not just I show up, I wreck it, and I leave. You get to see other things happen emotionally and physically that are exciting.
So Misty and Colleen have definitely become fan favorites for everybody. Is there any serious consideration of some kind of spin-off with those two characters?
Look, I obviously there's great excitement. I think there'll be even greater excitement when people see the show. That's really Netflix's decision. That's I get up every morning and I'd like to make about 10 other shows, but I have to wait until someone actually says we'll put it on the air. Otherwise, my boss goes, "You spent $100 million?
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for that?"
Who's gonna pay for that?
Just to go off that, is there any consideration of like some of the horror titles in Marvel coming to Netflix?
I think right now we're focused on what we have, and I'd like to leave it at that. We usually don't comment on what's coming.
Yep.
So we know Danny's going to be, influenced by Matt and picking up that mantra and taking care of the city. So are we going to see any other influences in the show, perhaps from like the Daredevil realm, as we in turn kind of see Danny step into this vigilante more so?
I think only in maybe a little bit in tone, and certainly Danny confronting similar situations that Matt would have. For example, how the police feel about what it is that he's doing, and he's also, it's not like he's unknown. He's actually a very well-known person. So we have to, deal with those things in the most realistic way that we can.
How do you compare the tone of this new season to the first season?
It's a
I
good
think
question.
Raven has really brought, you saw it a little bit in the scene with Colleen and Danny in the kitchen, where there's sort of extreme violence, and then there's a kind of almost like 40s rapport, like a 40s humor, like back and forth, and like balancing kind of that levity with what is, violence. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like the dancing. I know Clayton, our stunt guy, would say that for him it was Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers what we were doing. We were doing dances together.
But in a punk rock style. That was the part that was always the thing that was so cool about it.
Yeah, so I think that Raven has brought like a tempo, certainly with your like rapport with Colleen and a couple of the others. Obviously there's darkness and there's tragedy in there too, but there is a sort of tempo that I would say that is the tone. I would say the tone is slightly 40s myself. I would say it has that element, yeah. Yeah, quick speak, yeah.
Alice, could you talk a bit about training to play the character Typhoid Mary?
I think that's all I'm allowed to talk about, so let's talk about that. I did it a lot, again with Clayton, who you guys maybe met yesterday, who is a man I truly admire. I have a lot of time for Clayton, although I hated him for 5 months. But in hindsight, I'm really grateful it was him, because he was ruthless with me and tough. And, as Jeph said, told me to change my relationship with pain. I did end up in hospital. I was in a lot of pain all the time. And I worked really hard because he was a hard taskmaster, and I trained, 4 hours a day, every day that I wasn't filming, and then sometimes you had to go in when you weren't. But that is not something I'm, at all regretful about. It actually in a lot of ways changed my life, and I was saying to the guys over there, the ability to inhabit yourself as a woman and know that we're taught in school that boys are stronger, but to be in your body and to know that actually you do have resources, you do have reflexes, you do have speed, you do have strength, and those are things you can walk down the street at night with, because it's different walking down the street as a woman. It's a specific experience, and to know that you have something in your arsenal. It may be 1 or 2 moves. Like, I'm not saying I would go down the street and like Jackie Chan. No. But I do know that like if something happened, I have a sort of something that would happen in my head in response, and that's a great gift. That's a bigger gift than any, really.
Would you have suggestions for maybe other people, not just women, but people who want to train themselves to better confidence, self-defense, a place to start? That's
hard. That's interesting, and that's hard. The thing that I had to work on from a much more creative and actor point of view is I had to find the violence inside me. A woman tried to attack me on the tube the other day. It's a long story. I took a picture of her Air Max. I was wrong. And in London, and I wasn't feeling remotely aggressive towards her, and therefore whatever happened, she would have won the fight. And so what you have to find inside yourself, what I had to find inside myself, you don't have to find it at all, don't bother. But what I had to find inside myself was the relationship I had with violence, and to find a true violence inside. And if you know where that lives, and then what Clayton would say is the only thing you want to do in a fight is end it, to run. So I would say just the standard, go for the balls, go for the eyes, and get out. So really your cardio, I guess, is the answer.
what would you guys say the overarching theme of this second season of Iron Fist?
Duality.
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 What about you, Jennifer? What would you say?
I guess I'll go with duality.